Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Whole Perspective. My name is Kevin Delory. As always, joined by Kenny Phillips, Senior Vice President of Lending at EPM. Today, we have a special guest. I'm going to let Kenny kick it off with an introduction, but I am super excited. As I was just telling Jordan, this is the most amount of paper I've had on my desk for any episode of The Whole Perspective. Jordan is a culture guy. He is a core value guy. I am super excited to dig in today. So I'm going to turn it over to Kenny, do the introduction, and we're going to jump right into it.
Sure, let's get started. He has over 200,000 devoted followers and more than 50 million views online. Jordan Tarver has emerged as an influential figure in the world of personal growth and earned recognition as a best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and intentional change maker. After turning a traumatic car accident into a positive, life-changing moment, Jordan's unyielding determination led him to transcend adversity through a series of repeatable and easy-to-implement shifts that catapulted him from being stuck and living on autopilot into a fulfilling, purpose-driven life. He now shares these tools he learned with people to help them embark on a change journey that transcends their most profound challenges and illuminates a path towards more personal fulfillment. Welcome, Jordan.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Jordan, I dug in. I started The Pursuit of Purpose. Just ordered the Audible version and the hard copy of You Deserve This Shit.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I am just going through The Pursuit of Purpose, find your purpose in 30 days. I think it resonated with me because we just came back. It's funny. You have a background in mortgages, and we don't talk about mortgages on the show. And it's weird. We talk about, how to get better, how to improve yourself.
Right.
And anyone that takes The Pursuit of Purpose, you will find what your purpose is. You will find out who the real Kenny Phillips is, who the real Jordan is. You'll find the answers to those questions. You will get the fire back if you lost it. And I was just out. We had what we called Empower Brokers, and we had some brokers, and we wanted to really reinvigorate them in this down market and get them fired up. And one of them said to me, I lost my vision. I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. So he's getting a copy of this today. But yeah, and I just want to start off with one thing I want to give you kudos to, and this is something I discovered. When I discovered my core values, they were just words to me, right? They were just, mine are love, honor, respect. And it wasn't until I lost about 2 years ago, I lost my oldest brother. And that's when they became real to me. So people that run around and say, hey, these are my core values, and they're a bunch of words, you can't kick into overdrive until you adopt those core values as being real and live and eat and breathe them.
Right.
So what do core values mean to you? If you can just, build upon what I just said, I think that people realize, they say I have core values, but I don't know if they live them. How important it is to follow through and really embrace those core values.
Yeah, I think for me, core values have always been what guides me in how I show up in the world. So, it's really easy to get lost in the busyness of work, the chaoticness of just life in general. And so they just really serve as deeply rooted pillars to remind you in those times, maybe when you're feeling a little bit more disconnected from your path or your direction. They kind of remind you of the type of person you want to show up as in the world and what you want to actually stand for. And I think you make a great point about, the shift from it just being a word to it being a true thing you stand by. And I think, and I talk about it in Pursuit of Purpose, but, your core values will only be words on a piece of paper until you adopt them fully in your soul. That's a very important part of having a core value is you can't say you stand for something and then wake up the next day and do something that, neglects that core value. So I think it's very important to not only set them, but like you're saying, live them.
Yeah, I think your 4 steps really help you, right? It's self-exploration, core values, self-limiting beliefs, life purpose statement. And we had Will Badgett on, and actually you remind me a lot of Charles Clark and Will Badgett. You guys have a lot of that same philosophy. Some of theirs was like, find out your core values, find out your principle statement. What do you stand for? And I think this exercise, if anyone, goes out and gets The Pursuit of Purpose, you should do it. Go through these 4 steps and really put them to work for you. Because when you do that, that's when you really become your true authentic self, and you're not just trying to satisfy everyone else. And I think that's what gets you through adversity. That's what gets you through tough times. So did your core values help you through, you had that, horrific car accident? Did that get you to the next level? Did your belief in your core values help you get through that?
think he looks like he's frozen.
Jordan may be frozen. So this is the first time this has ever happened to us. So I think anyone that you should go out and get the pursuit of purpose, because when you take these 4 exercises, when you go through them step by step, you're going to discover who you are. You're going to discover, all of these things about you, and really be able to put pen to paper and decide, is this what I stand for? Is this my statement? Is this my purpose? Or is it just, like I said earlier, just, 4 or 5, core values on a piece of paper? Kenny, we know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you say that. As you was just talking, I was thinking through how when we came to EPM, you kind of know who you are, right? You know what you believe in, what you stand for. And then Darius said went through the exercise of discovering your core values. And mine is, loyalty, trustworthy, generosity. And as much as I knew it, right, until you put it on paper and then you write it down, you look at it, and you're like, that is who I am. And it kind of prepares you to really live those out and more distinctive in your life now that you recognize them. So
Jordan, the question was, I went through the car accident, and you had that adversity. Did the core values, like, how did you apply your core values to get you through that, or did you discover it after that? Was it, did you have the core values in place then?
I think so. I got in my car accident when I must have been 19, and so I feel like I wasn't honestly mature enough yet to kind of approach life in that way. And the way I talk about the car accident is, it was a very defining awakening moment for me, but it took years for it to become that. When I first got in the accident, I was still in college. I was still in that college bubble, going to parties, doing, the normal college weekend stuff. It wasn't yet important to me to reflect on those kind of experiences and really pick them apart. And it wasn't until I traveled when I was 21 where I really started to lead an intentional life, which is one of my core values, is unbreakable intention. And at that moment, that was kind of when I started to reflect back on that car accident and really start to understand why it happened. What was the real deep below the surface reason that happened to me? And that reflection process really put me into the journey that I've been on now for the last, 10 years since the car accident. But I think immediately, the car accident was just a shock to my life, but it was nothing beyond that.
Well, you brought up something good there, and I like that. It's this is actually in the pursuit of purpose. Your purpose is not stagnant; it's ever evolving. And I can think back, to the 51. I wasn't the same person at 31, 21, and I've always been evolving. So I haven't just laid stagnant to say this is my belief. So that's a great point. Like the guy was at 19. Now I look back and I could give him so much advice where I am at 51. And I think that's the key, because I would say today, like, I really come into my own in my leadership style is probably in the last 2 years since I've joined EPM. That's because they gave me the space, and I was really able to figure out and put my beliefs into play without anyone saying, no, you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't do this, and really live my core values and come up with a mission statement, come up with a purpose. But in 5 years from now, that may change, right? Depending on the circumstances. And I think, so what advice would you give people to say, don't get stuck in the 25-year-old Jordan? How do I look forward to what do I want to become? What steps can they take to start really putting a plan in place to get to where they want to who they want to be and what they want to be, and to, crush their goals?
Yeah, I think everything for me, and this is something I talked about in my first book, You Deserve the Shit, everything starts with awareness. Awareness is the first step. And I do think awareness is an action you can take, although it's not very tactical, like writing your goals down or doing really work stuff. But I think awareness is a true thing that expands your vision. And when you expand your vision, you change the way you see the world. The world starts to work. You start to see it work in a different way for you. And I think that's when you start to think for yourself. And I think when you get to the place of thinking for yourself, that's really the key of being able to define who you want to be moving forward and what kind of future you want to actually have for yourself. And so I think becoming aware of, and this is kind of what the pursuit of purpose is about, more than finding your purpose, but it's becoming aware of what fills you up in the heart, what lights you up, the things that you want to chase in life on a more of a service-based level. And I think that's like the definer of kind of developing the person that you want to become over the next 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years and beyond.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, something interesting you said, when you talk about becoming your highest version of yourself, you said the first step is kind of trusting yourself.
Mhm.
And most people feel they trust themselves. They don't trust anyone else. So give me the philosophy around like trusting yourself in that process.
Yeah, I mean, I think building trust is, to be transparent, it's probably one of the hardest things to do. You know, I still think even as quote unquote far along as I'm in my journey compared to where I was 10 years ago, like I still battle with that too. You know, every part of your journey presents a new challenge. It's never going to get, it's never essentially going to get easier. It's just going to get, the depth of it's going to get deeper. And so I think, you know, at each phase, you're going to have the calling from the universe to build that trust in that specific realm. And so I think for me, trust has come from actually going out and trying something and getting the vote that I was able to do it. And I was able to trust myself through that process and help guide myself. And it's not something that just happens by sitting back and waiting for the trust to come. It really comes by showing yourself that you can go after the thing you want to do, whether that's becoming a better person, whether that's becoming a better salesperson in the mortgage world. You know, it doesn't necessarily matter what part of that chapter you're in. It's just, it matters that you show yourself that you're capable of doing such thing.
Yeah, I think people get stuck in, they think they are a product of, their surroundings and their upbringing, and then they get, stuck in their own way, and they have an issue getting out of that, right? So it's like, well, this is the way I was raised. This is where I come from. This is who I am. Instead of, I got to trust in myself that I can do anything I set out to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a different way of doing it. I give everyone, because I feel I took so long in my career to get the trust, I give everyone trust up front. And you start at a full tank, and you either stay at a full tank or you get out to empty. If you get out to empty, then good luck rebuilding it. So I think, how do you get someone out of that mindset of, I don't believe in myself, I don't trust in myself because of these tough times I came from, or my upbringing, and I am now just labeled this? What advice do you give to someone to say, get out of autopilot, kick it into high gear, kick to the next level, stop beating yourself up?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, like, one, use your past as fuel. I was watching a video from Alex Hormozy last week, and he said, if you're sad, use it. If you're frustrated, use it. If you're angry, use it to your advantage. It's really easy to feel like you lose your power in your own life based on your past. And I think that's a story that a lot of people are living right now. People think that the past will define their future, but I like to say your past informs your future. So what is it in your past that you can learn from? And it's now information to do things in a different way, to direct your life in a direction that you actually feel aligned with. So I think it's really easy to get stuck in thinking your future is going to be a mirror of your past. And I don't believe in that myself, but I believe that your past can help you inform to create a future that you actually align with.
I love that.
Wow.
Past informs your future.
I love it. Great. So you had a couple, like you said, you had some life-changing events, right? You had the accident in 2013. You said that was the first domino that dropped. And then you had, the 3-month tour of Europe was the second domino. And you said it was really about self-discovery. A lot of people aren't fortunate enough to take, 3 months and, go through Europe and travel with a backpack. So if you was to give someone advice, how do they start that process of self-discovery?
Yeah. And I want to say, you make a great point. And something I want to kind of preface as well is, a solo backpacking trip, one, is not for everyone, and two, maybe isn't available where they're at in their lives. And I think the beauty of self-discovery is it's an internal journey. It's an internal exploration of the world that exists within you. And you don't need to go to Europe. You don't need to go on a road trip. You can do it right here from your desk with a journal and just dive deep into what's inside of you without having to have an external experience. And so I think for me, I have my journal right here. I do it every single morning. This has been the way I've been able to explore my soul every single day and almost unpack what's inside of me to better understand the things I'm going through, the emotions I'm feeling, the things that light me up, the things that make me angry. It's just a really easy way to start to look inward without actually having to go out and do something.
That's a great one. It's in our industry right now. Times are tough. There's a down market, and people, have a tendency to get stuck being complacent. Well, it is what it is. This is what I've always done. And I was reading one of your steps, and you give these 4 steps on your instant impact. Again, anyone that wants to get something every day, it's going to fire them up. Go register, subscribe to Instant Impact. But it said, enjoying life is a simple game of energy allocation. You have the option to focus on what energizes you or depletes you. Choose wisely. And I think a lot of people in the down market cry, oh, whoa, me, instead of let me get up, let me attack it. What advice do you give somebody to break out of that, whoa, me, I don't, it's a down market, I just have to accept it?
Yeah, I think there's always opportunity in any point of life, whether you're in what you feel like is a negative situation, a low market. I think there's always opportunity available if your awareness is wide enough to catch it. And I think that comes with the practice of awareness. Awareness is a lifelong practice. It's not something you learn overnight and you're good to go. My awareness, although I've been working on my awareness since my trip in 2016, it's ever expanding. And that allows me to be able to see more opportunities or see through the blurred lines, see around the obstacles rather than just seeing the obstacle. And so, for example, in a down market, you may have people in that same woe is me energy. So the opportunity is being the person that's not that person. And now you can seize much more of the market because maybe 70% of the other salespeople in your region, they're siding with the negative side of the market, or you're seeing and looking for the opportunities. How can I maybe switch my focus and pivot a little bit and focus on something that I've neglected in my business, but maybe is very crucial right now in a time when, the market's down.
Yeah, I think, I'm so glad you said that. It's funny. The good luck coming into people keep asking, why are you guys bucking the trend? What are you guys doing different? Well, good luck coming in to this office and listening to someone say, whoa, me. No, you get up today and say, whose business am I going to take today? So when you put your energy in that direction, it will happen. You give enough activity and energy towards that, it will come. I think a lot of people are wasting their energy, to your point, and they're allocating it towards this, whoa, me, and they spend 15 minutes of every hour looking at an excuse of why the call didn't go their way. And that's with anything in life. I think it's all in how you attack the day. So I love that comment. It's you can either choose to put your energy what improves you or depletes you, and you choose that. That's your decision. That's Jordan's decision. That's Kenny's decision. No one's choosing that for you. The market's not choosing that for you. You chose that. So get up and attack, or just get up and cry. Don't even waste time getting out of bed if that's the way you choose your energy. Save it for another day. But that one really got me fired up, and it'll be on the in the chat for the entire company by the end of the day, because it's spot on, and that's what really makes winners. That's what really gets people motivated.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to perspective too, because, and I'm just going to keep rolling with this low market example, because one, it's relevant to everyone listening, and two, it's the truth right now.
Right.
But I think, coming back to a place of service, why are you doing, and this is relating back to pursuit of purpose, why are you doing something? Are you doing it to make money, or are you doing it to help a client? Are you doing it to help a customer? So in this low market, maybe you come into work every day and say, what can I do today to help someone? And I feel like that right there is a much higher vibration than saying like, the market's low, there's no available, homes to sell or commercial real estate to work with. There is always someone out there who needs your help in your business, and it's switching that perspective to a place of service.
Oh, I love it. You talked about learning about yourself, and at your transition period, after the accident and everything else, you said one of the things that helped you was the compound effect, and you say you still apply it daily. So talk about the compound effect and how it affected your life.
Yeah, so that was one of the very first self-help books by Darren Hardy that I read that I would quote unquote say changed my life. It was really a simple, I'm all about simple stuff. It's a very simple concept, small things repeated over time compounded to something greater. Boom. That's easy to get. It's easy to conceptualize. And so once I realized that, I just realized that most of us overcomplicate progress, overcomplicate achieving our goals, overcomplicate everything, because we think in order to make a change, in order to achieve a goal, we have to do like headline breaking types of action. We need to take such big action and make such a big daily progress that it's seen by everyone. But really, and what this compound effect reaffirms is that it's not that. It's the small shifts. It's the 1 degree, and over time that sucks up into this massive shift over time. And once I realized that, I just kind of pulled back my life a little bit and started focusing on the small actions every day. And going back to that trust piece, and the compound effect helped me believe in this, but trusting that those small actions, those small moments of progress, those small steps would compound into this massive amount of progress that I've now, experienced over the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great point, Jordan. A lot of people think I need to do something drastically different to get out of the funk I'm in or to achieve something. And another great quote you have over here: there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and intention is the road to it. And that was about taking responsibility of your life. And, wake up in the morning, have a sense of urgency instead of just going through the motions. It isn't that you need to do something different. Just do a little extra that day. Do one thing different. Doesn't always have to be this big dramatic change. And, recently having a conversation with someone, they're like, I just lost my mojo. Mm-hmm. And then through conversation, I'm like, everything I'm hearing is mojo. You have to believe in it. So it's that just maybe you make one more tweak, maybe make one more call, do one thing different. It's no different than, I've been on this journey to try to get fit. And then every day I do something more and more, and I keep pushing myself. And now the minute I get out of bed, the first thing I'm going is downstairs to go work out. I'm not even, that's the first thought that kicked into my head. I didn't do anything drastic. I started one day of doing a 15-minute workout, day 2, 16 minutes, 17 minutes, until it evolved into this thing where it's second nature to me. And I feel the best. I've improved myself tenfold, and I feel the best I've felt in my 51 years. So can you really explain to people, like, I think coming from, this comment of why is it you got to take responsibility, right? And what are those things, that people should be doing to just continue to improve themselves? What is one thing they could leave with, today? And I'll give you mine. Mine is finding your core values. You really nailed that one for me. And I think a lot of people don't live them. I take it so serious when I give my word. It's my word. Why? Because that's part of honor, right? And so what is one thing that someone that's struggling to get their vision back, to get their mojo back could do? And definitely I tell you all what they should do is go out and get the pursuit of purpose and go through this workbook and really figure it out. I've done these exercises. They're amazing. But what is one piece of advice you can give?
Yeah, I mean, well, the first thing I'm going to say was that, and this is perfectly aligned with what we're talking about, the Pursuit of Purpose book. And I'll do a 2-part answer just so we get some more stuff in here. But I fully believe in that workbook, and it is incredibly comprehensive. And I spent loads and loads of time crafting these exercises to where they're almost an episodic style. So they're actually not just a grab bag. Everything's interconnected in the storyline to get you from point A to point Z, and I'm going to take you through the whole process. But I think we break that down a little bit and just look at one thing within the workbook. And I think, and we talked about it earlier, but journaling has been one of the most crucial parts of my journey, like hands down. I will say that forever. It is something that's unlocked a new window into my own life because it allows me to discover more about myself on the daily. I do it for 10 minutes. It's completely free. It's very low effort. And I also understand that journaling is not for everyone. Writing's not for everyone. So I think what I want to say is you don't need to write 3 pages. You don't need to write 2 pages. You could write 3 sentences, as easy as writing down what you're grateful for. That's where I started. What are 5 things I'm grateful for? Every day, that's what I did to start my journaling practice. And that got me, like you're saying, going to the gym for 10 minutes, 15 minutes of working up. It got me into this longer practice that I am now because it helped me fall in love with how it made me feel and what it made me access. So my recommendation to most people when they ask, where should I start? It's open up the journal, open up your mind, and look within.
Wow. Interesting. You talk about ego, and we talk a lot about ego here at the company. And, sometimes you start meetings with hanging up your ego. And you talk about how it gets in the way of, learning about yourself. I'll actually read the quote: the ability to drop your ego and harness the willingness to learn more about yourself enables you to find direction, meaning, and clarity in life. A lot of people say, I don't have an ego. I put my ego up. But how much do you really feel about that ego really getting in the way about learning about yourself and, giving you that clarity?
Yeah. And I think just relating to what the quote you just read, it comes back to the moment you think you know everything about yourself is the moment you lose truth. It's like that is the end of your journey of growth and end of your development. But the truth is, there's always things to learn. You're, like Kevin was saying in the beginning, at age 21, 31, 51, you are a different person. Your circumstances are different. Your situations are different. The circles you're in, your career is different. Everything is different. Nothing will ever be the same. And I view that as an exciting part of life. That feels expansive to me. I'm ever evolving, ever pushing outward in my existence. And so I think, that really is something I take to heart and I think is really important. So I would say, yeah, it just comes back to really that piece.
It's something great about that, Kenny. You just said, and both you and Jordan said something. One, the first thing, about ego is admitting you have one, because we all have one, right? And you're right. We start every meeting hanging up our ego. But somebody asked me, to Jordan's point, I had to pick up my daughter yesterday, and another dad came over to me and he said, I really watched, he's a neighbor, and he said, I really watched your transformation since you've been doing the podcast, since you've been, interviewing people, since, you've worked at EPM. He said, what do you think the biggest thing has been? And it's to your point. I don't know everything about myself. Every book I pick up, I learned something else about myself. I learned something new that I can use to help somebody else. Maybe it's just something, putting a label to something I already know and do. These are the things that I want to continue to do, to continue to improve. You just have to make sure the people you're alongside with are with you along that journey, because if not, this gap continues to grow. So any leader out there that's leading an organization, be careful that you try to also instill that with your people so they grow along with you, and you don't, that separation doesn't become so wide. And that's the one thing of my transformation is share what you're learning with the people around you. It might not be today that they get it. It might not be tomorrow. It might be a month from now. I have conversations with my wife sometimes and saying, hey, I learned this new technique of asking more questions. My wife's a school teacher. She had an issue at school. And I said, did you ask questions? No, I'm going to go back and do it. She came home later that day and said, oh my God, I asked them so many questions that by the end, they were thanking me for my help and asked if they'd give me a hug because the questions were so powerful. So it's that thing of, to what you said, John, you never know everything about yourself. You're never going to know. To the day you die, you're not going to know everything about yourself. And continue to, evolve, learn, educate, share. You said something else about make your circle as big, your network as big as possible. It's never too big. And continue to learn from people. I'm learning stuff. If I didn't, learn about Jordan Tarver, I wouldn't know about the pursuit of purpose. I'm going to steal a couple of things from here. I got a couple of people I want to send some of these questions to that told me they lost their vision, and they'll get their vision back with this. So I love that you said that. And anyone that's listening, you'll never know everything. You'll never be, where you want to be. And that's the beauty of life, is to keep chasing down something. My goal of learning about myself, and anyone should be, there's never any ending. The finish line is when you're in your coffin. I mean, you're never going to be the wisest man in the world. So I love that. So anyone listening, continue to learn about yourself. You'll never find out everything, but that's the fun of it. I'm learning more and more about myself every day, every book I read, every conversation I have with someone like you. So that was impactful. And I hope everyone's listening understands that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one thing I would say that I feel like once you understand, and this is something that happened in my own journey, once you understand you'll never have it figured out, it kind of becomes, you feel this like sense of ease, you start to approach life in a more positive way because you're not so like, I need to get to this point. The point of the journey is the journey itself. It's the ever evolving of your essence, your soul, your existence. And so I think once I realized that, people above me that I look up to also don't have it figured out. People that look up to me, when I tell them like, hey, like I probably have a lot of the same struggles that you have, and you may just not think that, but the truth is I'm human. I will never have it figured out. And as soon as I understood that and changed that perspective to trying to have life figured out, to just always learning and expanding, I feel like it just gave me a sense of ease.
Interesting.
It's like your golf game, Kenny. You figured out that you're never going to really understand it, so you just keep. That's why you're more, at peace.
I left my ego to the side. Just go out there and hack it out anyway.
There you go.
But about the ego, it's true though. A lot of people think, they come into an organization or, an area and they say, you know what, I know more than this person. I know more than this person. But they don't realize, like you said, Jordan, that it caps their growth, right? Yeah. And capping their growth then caps their contribution to the organization. So, no, great point. You're at the end of the episode. It's been great.
One other thing for you asked the stable question, Kenny.
yeah,
I
buddy.
just want to, I got to give Jordan that said something. We believe getting 1% better every day, and the only competition is yourself. And I got to, steal your line there because this one's great. The competition isn't them; it's you versus you. Stop trying to compete. My goal is to be better than Kenny every day. My goal is what I said. And it's funny. Every guest, I want to just make sure that everyone understands. Every guest that's been on here that is someone I look up to or someone I say, hey, Mom, this is great. Every single one of them said they do one thing. And I've been doing it now, and that's journaling. And to your point, some days it's 2 sentences, some days it's a paragraph. But then I go back and I can learn more about me and continue to learn about me and how I can get better. So I want to make sure everyone understands that. Stop looking at, people say, well, that person did X amount. I want to beat them and I want to be at the top 10. Forget that. Just worry about being the best version of you every day. And you said, I like the way you summed it up. The competition isn't them. It's you versus you. I hope everyone gets that and really stops beating themselves up over trying to be the next Kenny Phillips, the next Jordan Tarver. Be the best version of you. And if you do that every day when you roll out of bed, you're going to crush it. I love that quote that you put in there. That's great. The next one was step 4 of that was, I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. Don't be afraid to try new things and fail. There's nothing spectacular about what we're doing here. We try different stuff and we fail. We like what other people do and we try it. If it doesn't work, we move on. But don't be afraid of the failure.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So Jordan, one of the stable questions in our podcast is, what is your value in the industry? You're a life changer, you're an inspirational speaker. What do you consider your value to be?
Like the value I provide to you through what I do?
Yes.
Helping people illuminate a path toward personal fulfillment, giving them the tools to start their path, feel guided down that path, and get to a place that they really feel fulfilled with what they're doing.
Yeah, I tell you, if anyone, you really got to get this. You got to get the pursuit of purpose. You have to do it. If you're someone right now, it's only going to take you, you find your purpose in 30 days. If somebody told me at 21 I could find my purpose in 30 days, I would have paid $1 million. You could go to jordantarver.com and get this. I'm telling you right now, anyone that's struggling because times aren't going in their favor, go get this, because that tells me you don't really know what your core values are. You don't know what your vision is. And if you go there, you go through this exercise, you'll find it. I know my core values. My core values are different today at 51 with a 6-year-old than they were at 25 with no responsibilities. So, you have to do this. I'm telling you, I'm anyone that's going through a tough time right now, you figure this out. That's the value, in my opinion, of Jordan Tarver, is that he's going to help you. If you do this workbook, comes with the workbook, you do the workbook, you'll figure out what your core values are. You'll have your purpose. You'll wake up tomorrow a different person. And like I said, anyone that's not journaling, you should be doing it. That's where you'll go back and read something that you wrote a month ago. I'm like, holy crap, what do you mean that's what I was happy about, or that's what I was facing as a challenge? That's nothing. That's mice nuts in the grand scheme of things. That is the smallest problem I've ever heard of. So I think that's your value. I think, I can't wait. I just ordered your book on Amazon. I have it on audio. So you deserve this shit. I can't wait to dig into that, because if it's anything like the pursuit of purpose, I'm going to be super excited. But I would ask anyone that's struggling right now, any company that doesn't have a core values, that doesn't have real culture, there's a guy you might want to check out and have your people do the pursuit of purpose. And because a company's only as good as their weakest link, and it's only good as the people that believe in them. So it's great that we say we have culture, but it starts, we actually say the basement, that our leadership team's in the basement and works up. It starts from, but everyone has to buy in and believe it. But you also don't lose your core values for your company's core values. That's one thing I'll tell everyone. That's the way culture works. And if you say you have to accept my core values and forget yours, that's not culture. That's more like a cult. So go figure this out. I mean, this is some great stuff. And it was great that you come from a background of the mortgage industry, so you get what these guys are going through. But, check it out. I would definitely sign up. I did today for Instant Impact. Some of them are absolutely amazing. I wish we had more time. You deserve to achieve your goals. Take the 4 steps. A lot of great stuff, Jordan. For such a young guy, I wish at your age I was as aware of core values and my purpose that I am at 51 because I feel like I wasted 21 years. I could have really been attacking it. So anyone that's kind of lost, feeling lost in this tough and challenging market, go find yourself. It's simple. Pursue the purpose. It's awesome.
I appreciate it.
Love it.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for having me, but also just the unconditional support and love for the projects I put out. And that just means a lot to me.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jordan.